right, we're live to the Rugby Rant. The big guy Scott Farrar, Rob the Hammer Hammerschmidt. No, you guys might recognize a couple of these guys. We've got Mark O'Keefe, Chris Mattina, the Hounds in the building. Got a great match today. We're going to go live against my New York Ironworkers, maybe. But you know, we're going to interview these guys real quick before they got to get going towards their three-day warm-up, and then obviously they're hitting the pitch really hard, starting for the 23 here today. So, Rob, take it away. I know you have the questions.
Yeah, well, we wanted to have these two players in, both Mark and Chris, because they've played on both sides of this match today. They've been in New York, and now they're here in Chicago, and we're happy to have them here in Chicago for sure. And they're both great lads. Been super appreciative for all that they do for rugby in the United States and in particular Chicago, and have been super gracious to the Rugby Rant and offering their time here. So we're going to talk a little bit about transition. Both you guys had a little bit of a tumultuous offseason, right? Coming into the fall. You've got to hear in Chicago. How has Chicago been to you guys, both as a city and as an organization?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fell in love with this city. I've been around the block these days. I've been in New York, Atlanta, Austin, and now Chicago. And I'd safely say Chicago is my favorite. So much that I normally go back to New York in my off season, but I'm actually going to stay here in Chicago and plan my route down.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Chicago summer. That Oak Street Beach looks pretty nice. I was there the other day, so I think I might have to get a few cold ones go down there in the off season. So yeah, I'm obsessed with the city. Could be a bit warmer sometimes, but when it's warm, walking around the city is amazing. It's like a carnival atmosphere. So
You have to check out Lolo. You don't like that Lolo Blues
our house, which is right beside our barn. That's going to be very good
time. Chris, how about you? You know Chicago. You're from the Northeast. You're from Manhattan, right? And now you're here in Chicago. How do you like it? How's your stay? How's your organization?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It has that Northeast feel. It has the real New York vibe to it. It's been amazing for us, and honestly, same. Like I fell in love with the city. We've been here once before, but just living here has been awesome for us, and I've really enjoyed it. I love the setup. I've loved everything about it. So yeah, a lot of similarities to New York. Good food, big skyscrapers, but you got the beach, you got the river. A bit more spread out, so it's been really awesome, and we're really enjoying it.
So let's talk rugby. I mean, that's why people come to the Rugby Rant. They want to get a little bit of information. They want to just get some more background and context and color their rugby knowledge. On the rugby side of things, Hounds have been a little bit challenged, 1-9, been in most, if not all their matches, at least 50, 55 minutes. What's going to take to push you guys over the hump today?
To be honest, the last 2 weeks training have been pretty good. We've gotten pretty good. We've got much closer together. I feel like every single game, as you said, there's a few games we've lost by 2 points, 3 points. We haven't really been blown out, really yet. I mean, maybe once. So I think this week, it's just we have freedom this week. We've had it. It's kind of like the shackles are off. I remember Mattina said it yesterday, just before we left at the back seat of that. We've nothing to lose anymore. The shackles are off, so we're going to just play free flowing rugby, throw whatever you want, throw 50-50s are on, whatever you want to do, and just see if it pays off. That's kind of the love of the game. You don't want to be too structured all the time. Honestly, if we're playing for 1, 2, or 3, if we're playing to get the playoffs and we have an opportunity to take 3 points, we take that. But now we're going to try and do something electric, try and do something different and try and build the game here. We should do. So.
Well, that feeds into both your games. I mean, I think I saw Mattina smile with Beardy here because he's playing start at 15 today. And you loved attacking out of the back where you can kind of see the line. What do you like most about playing back there?
Yeah, I just like seeing space and attacking that space, and I think that's the game of rugby is all about, and creating and trying to just create something out of nothing even, or just finding small gaps in the defense and kind of using your vision to find that. I think is my favorite part of it. So but putting guys like him in space, putting him away for tries is probably one of my other favorite things. Watching his highlight video at the end of the day, it's like he just gave me like 7 tries. So he doesn't get too confident. Or beers. But yeah, it's been awesome, and I love attacking there, creating and having it go. So I think you'll see that from us today. Like Mark said, I think shackles are off. I think we're going to play some free flow rugby, and that's kind of our recipe for winning today. So.
Yeah, I know last week as I watched Rugby New York play the Gold. Rugby New York had a great kicking game, and they put the Gold under some pressure with the kicking game. They had some nice shit throughs, were able to create some tries and some offense, especially over those opportunities and turnover ball. You guys have an amazing back three. Yourself back in the center. You've got some great wings. I mean, Mark typically has played wing quite frequently this week, but of course, we've got Dominga that's playing the wing. Is this something that you guys are game planning for this week? Being prepared for the league to put pressure on with the chips and the high balls?
Yeah. Just from playing for New York and the lot of New Zealand style of play, like they love to have go and they love to just see space and have that short kicking game. So it's definitely something I've known and I've learned actually from a lot of the guys on that team. So we absolutely know that they're going to run from anywhere, they're going to kick from anywhere. So you got to be switched on in back three, and I think we've done a good job this week of keeping that alive and training. So we know it's coming, so we just got to stop it and kind of know what's on it.
Well, Mark's watching his timepiece there, so I know it's on time. He's because they've got a tight schedule. I know Sam likes to keep things pretty sharp with you guys leading up.
He's on the ball.
He's on the ball, absolutely. So I want to get into one of the questions. I mean, this week, big announcement. There's another push for unionization. And I know both you guys have, behind the scenes here, we've talked a little bit about that. Can you, either one of you, can you talk a little bit about why this push has been made now? And as a secondary piece, and I can certainly come back to this question, what are the players looking for out of this? We just want to inform fans.
Yeah, I'll take this one as well. So I think this time's a bit different for us. I think we have a bit of backing from outside partners, and I think from last season with the Gilgronis and Giltinis saga, I think that kind of built a bit of support for a league, and I think it's year 6 of the league, and I think at a time it becomes kind of an inflection point for us, and at this point we do need some type of representation in the league, and I think we're just looking for collaboration. We're looking for a voice. We're looking to build this league and build American rugby to make it stronger, and I think that's all we're really looking for, and to support and protect our players, especially American players, but obviously guys who come in, from around the world, like Mark and Keith, that, make this their home, that we want them to be protected. And so I think our big ones are safety, strength, and last, can't remember, but support. Yeah, one of those. But yeah, I think those are just our main 3 platforms. So things from health insurance to protections on the field, and just protecting our players. There's a lot of young American players entering this league each year, and in order for them to continue playing on, we need to provide protections. We need to have them want to continue in this league. That'll build everything up. So we're really looking for collaboration with the league. We think it'll be a strong point.
I mean, I think you guys need to amend those 3 S's and add a T for transparency, because that's something me and Rob have spoken about on the fan side. Because I know on the fan side there's lack of transparency everywhere, and I know from speaking to players, there's a lack of transparency when it comes to certain things, and I think that's very important. If the league's not going to give the fans transparency, that's one thing, but if they can't provide transparency for the players when things are going on, that's a completely different story.
Yep.
So me and Rob have been talking about this. We talked about this with Nick Chavetta in 2020, when the season ended, about unionization and having a bargaining agreement, being collectively bargained through partners. And something I have a unique experience with working where I work. So I know the importance of it. And as an athlete, especially, in a high-risk job, to get injured, have a catastrophic injury. Kyle Bailey came out on social media recently and talked about his catastrophic injury last game of the season. He wasn't under contract. He had to rehab himself. He couldn't work. It's devastating for a player like that. His caliber, who's a perennial guy on the Rugby Canada squad, to have that happen to him and have those issues, it's kind of ridiculous. And we're right there to support you guys at this point. So
Appreciate that. Yeah, and you kind of see a lot of players have started speaking out. So we're just gonna continue to say our piece, and hopefully we're just hoping that the league voluntarily recognizes us as the players. So.
Yeah, and so I know you guys have to go, but
We're big fine.
you're fine.
Yeah, we're good. Don't worry.
We're in a couple more questions. Yeah. So, Mark, I know we've talked in the past, and I know in our conversations, we talked a little bit about this club and having a stronger and building a stronger connection with the Irish contingent. Can you, I know Pat Ryan's involved in that, obviously Lucardi. Can you speak a little bit to that component, what you guys are looking to build with the Hounds and that relationship and connection to the Irish contingent and some of the Irish ownership?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a really special idea for me. Obviously throughout the league, there's like Houston's very South African based,
Yeah.
New York's very New Zealand based, and it's all around the league. Atlanta's the same, very South African. I think there's no one really tapped into the Irish market, and there was a few when I first came over. New York was very Irish, but we all kind of dispersed. So it's really, really exciting. Honestly, I'm not just saying that to see that they're going to tap into a bit more to the Irish market. If anyone's been looking on the 42.ie and stuff, there's a few rumours of Irish players coming over. One of my best mates from since I was 6, I was actually just talking to my mother about it this morning. Very excited. I know I'm not going to break yet because I don't know if I'm still enough. He could be coming over, and like I was even saying to my mum, like my life is here. I left my life at home in Ireland, and I've become. I'm not American, don't worry, but I've become this my home America, and hopefully maybe in a year or two to come I might be able to play for America if I become eligible. But like, it's exciting to think that now that like one of my best friends since I was 6 years of age will be coming over here to play with me, and it's like I was just telling my mum how crazy that is. It's amazing that I can go this journey, and now this one of my literally been to school with since I was 6 is coming over potentially. But like yeah, I love the fact that they're going towards the Irish contingent. We're good crack, we fight hard, we play hard, and we drink hard as well. So Chicago's going to be an interesting city if they start getting the 2 Irish lads over.
So you hit that in Chicago's going from Memorial.
It's awful. It's the worst thing in the world. Like I don't know how they sell it. There's a few New York boys might have to have a shot. It's not trying on.
It's too bad we couldn't have a shot last night, so they felt like hell today.
Exactly.
I got one for Chris. You know, I know when you were playing in New York, you had your own academy. You were helping young high school players and young youth players kind of grow their game, specifically on the kicking side, which is something that is really not robust in high school. Me and Rob talked about this yesterday with John Cullen, a lack of kicking game. What are you guys doing in Chicago as far as like youth and helping out the youth rugby around here?
So actually, I'm going out to a high school training session on Tuesday. But so
Which one?
St. Rita's.
Yeah.
Their building program. This is probably their second session ever. So, yeah, we've had connections. We started kind of putting down some roots with the high school community. Patty Ryan's the head coach of New Cheerleader. Just had a really good season so far. Yeah, I think like there's massive opportunity here for rugby in that level, in that age group, and I think this year they kind of just started getting their feet wet a little bit just because it was so late and they're still working on a lot of kinks just with us.
Yeah, you want to get the on-field stuff right and branch out afterwards. And listen, that's every expansion team has had that.
Yeah.
And we've seen teams like New York come in, worry about the field, and now Steve Lewis is going everywhere doing rugby.
Yeah.
Same thing, Toronto, same thing, New England. So I don't think it's definitely fair to say they were a little late to the game, but it's understandable.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're putting you guys in a position to help grow the game right now shows they have some forethought and vision on what they want to do in the future with the youth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I definitely want to be involved with going forward. And that's like my ideal position that I'd love to be in. Just kind of academy coach and watching the role that would be awesome for me. Hopefully, after rugby, after I'm done playing, I'll be in that type of role. So.
Rugby Illinois is very strong here, and they have a ton of youth programs. I mean, I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 high school programs and middle school program. A couple weeks ago, they had a middle school festival right here at SeatGeek Stadium out on the pitches. So very robust youth community, and they could definitely take advantage of guys who have been there, done that. By the way, congratulations to the roster. We wish you well and 50 caps today. Yeah, 50 caps. You ready? How to get 50 caps? Mark made the 50-50 a couple weeks ago. 49.5. Yeah. 49.5. But congratulations on 50 caps being on the line. I mean, it's certainly a huge achievement, and obviously getting a call up to have a crack at the Eagles is something that we love to see, and hopefully Mark continues to make his home here in Chicago and grow our community and make those connections, the Irish contingent, and maybe get yourself in there too. So real quick, as we exit out, of course, it is Mother's Day. There's probably a few people in your life you guys like to recognize. So I don't know if they're watching, but maybe they're catching on replay.
Happy Mother's Day, Mother's Day, Mom. Even though it's not really Mother's Day, no, happy American Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so much. See you in 2 weeks.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Hope you have a great day. We're having brunch right now, so enjoy it and see you soon. See you.
There you go. Well, the boys have to get going. They're going to have a crack today, and we wish them well on game day, and we sure appreciate you guys taking precious moments of your time on game day to share with us and the fans at home. Thanks, boys. Good luck today. Thanks so much.
Cheers. Cheers. Thanks very much. See ya.
All the production behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys on the cheers. Good luck.
You guys.
So now we're back to our regularly scheduled Rugby Rant programming with the big guy in the hammer. It was great to have these guys, and for me it's a special connection. Chris Mattina and Mark have been friends of mine since the New York days, and when Rob said those were the two guys that were asked to come on, and I immediately knew they were going to say yes. Two reasons: they love the game, they love to grow the game. You can see by what they're doing here, and Mark talked about growing the Irish contingent.
Right.
And he said previously we had a strong Irish contingent in New York. And they have since dispersed to a couple of different clubs, but to grow that is something special. And like you mentioned, a lot of teams have different connections, different areas. And Chris Mattina has always been one of those players to really push youth sports himself. He's doing it. He did it in New York in the off season, literally. The amount of kids that were coming to his camp, and I got to talk to him, throughout the off seasons in New York and ask him how he was building up. And it was, 4 or 5 kids. He'd do one-on-one training sessions. The kid had a rough match. He'd counsel him, and it's really growing those youth players to be the next collegiate players, to be the next MLR players, to be the next American Eagles. That when you come to those that Rugby World Cup, you might see a couple of those kids. Matina's been teaching, Patty Ryan's been coaching on that Eagles squad. It's very important.
Yeah, and well, they understand that too. I think they see the long-term vision, even though they might have aged out of that 2031 space. They understand what we're trying to build here, and they understand that we've got to all pull from the same side of the road in order to make that happen, in order to have a successful campaign, not only as a World Cup venture, but also as a U.S. Eagles squad.
Absolutely.
So we got to take a moment to recognize a couple of important organizations.
Absolutely.
In our lives, and one of them is Tight End Brewing right here in Chicago, up in Mundelein, Illinois. Tight End Brewing has always supported rugby here in the Chicago area, and it is a wonderful place not just to watch rugby and enjoy some incredible brews, which they have a plethora of, but it's also just a wonderful atmosphere. It's almost as if you're going to your own man cave or your backyard, beer garden, and enjoying a few beverages with your mates in a real relaxed atmosphere. They have live music like 3 to 4 days a week, and they brew some fabulous beers. If you get here to Chicago, you can stop at any Vinny's beverage mart, very populated throughout Chicagoland area. Long Snapper IPA is one of the popular ones, named after Pat. It was a long snapper for Chicago Bears for like 13 years. So great beers. And don't forget, if you can't get to Chicago, you can always go to tightendbrewing.com and you can pick up some great merch for your man cave or beer garden. They got great glasses or your rugby club. Tight End, logo on it. They have shirts, hats, balls, half yards. You can adorn your club. You can adorn your basement, man cave, or anything else you want to. Heck, even your kitchen. With some great Tight End products.
Absolutely. I got quite a few pint bets from Tight End that Bruce sent us. So thank you, Bruce, for being a long-time sponsor. I think it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years Tight End's been our sponsor. We're really proud to bring them out. And then our next sponsor is shopmr.com, run by Rugby Now. You see all this great merch that me and Rob are wearing. You can purchase this all on shopmr.com. They have merch for every team. They have all the game day kits. They're starting to launch the city kits now for sale, I saw, which was something that the Illinois wasn't going to do this year, and decided that they want to launch some production of city kits. So if you didn't get the purchase or auction, win the auction for your city kits, the game one ones, they will be available on shopmr.com. I think they're on pre-order now. So get your pre-order on those city kits. Chicago was the Bulls city kit. We ranked it number one when me and the gals, the Jackal Den guys, did our rankings. We ranked that number one as the one to get this year if they sold them. But from everything, you can also go to rugbynow.com to just in general get all of your rugby merch, balls, practice pads, cleats, anything, shorts, donuts, whatever you need, customizable jersey at rugbynow.com, which powers shop everyone.
And the great thing is they're super, super fast.
Oh yeah.
They do a great job. You order, anytime I've ordered, I've gotten kit or whatever, I can order within 3 days. So I've been able to enjoy it on the weekend, whether it's playing myself, which I'm a little stiff from,
Yes.
or coming here and supporting the Hounds and winning the Hounds here. I've gotten super fast for the weekend's events.
So as we roll into our next thing, we're actually going to hit you with the around the pitch. Unfortunately, we don't have the graphic teed up because we don't have a production assistant because we don't really make any money. So me and Rob are the production assistants. But anyway, my around the pitch topic, my first one, has to do with my buddy Rob here. Rob turned 52 years old a couple weeks ago. Played in the 40th anniversary Old Boys match for the Chicago Boys Rugby Club. Two things. Congratulations on making 40 years for the rugby club. They had a big pig roast. 200 to 300 people came out. John Cole, the Hounds came out to celebrate. Rob played about probably a good 27 minutes of the 30-minute match, scoring 2 tries. One of them was a 40-meter breakaway that I haven't seen speed in a long time. Unfortunately, his neck is now killing him, and me and his boys have been giving him constant shit the entire time. So as you see him today on the sidelines, let's see if the camera's going to turn if Rob turns with it. Rob, no, seriously, congratulations. Blaze Rugby Club is a big part of your life. You've traveled internationally with them. Your wife has traveled internationally with them. Your boys have played a couple matches with them. Preston has played a couple matches. Unfortunately, Jackson's a lacrosse player, which, he's like the black sheep. We don't really talk about Jackson, but no, I'm joking. But, it's part of your life, part of your friendships. And again, another organization that gives to you, works with Rugby Illinois, and really tries to put you some congratulations on that.
Thanks, and big shout out to Pete Thornley. Pete Thornley Fields, named after Pete, Englishman, came here with a vision, and Walt Ravenson, who helped carry it out. I was a couple of guys months together, I'm talking about you too. Just doing some amazing things. Buddha doing amazing things for the Chicago Boys and help make that happen. Kevin Hunt, you're out there too. So we appreciate that. My around the pitch has to do with college rugby. You guys know that I love touching on college rugby, and I got a chance to get down to Houston last weekend. Preston played in the 7 national tournament, got to the finals, lost in a great match to Life University. So I want to say hats off to Life University. Tremendous job. You guys put it all out there. Life Women's won the women's side in their division. So it was great to see that. And of course, a big kudos 2 years in a row for our service academies, laying the wood and getting the win and being national champions. So kudos to the Navy. I was there for the match. Jackson, my sidekick for the weekend, was there at the match. If you haven't had a chance to watch, go back to the Rugby Network and have a watch. It was a wonderful match with Army playing from behind most of the match and come back. Navy, excuse me. Army was last year. Thanks for the Rugby Network, Adam showing up there from the Rugby Network, and Brad showing up from another organization which can't remember, but I'm talking about you. So anyway, great matches, a lot of fun. Kudos to Paul Santinelli for putting on. Great job, man. And that's one of my own pitches.
Before my second cocktail, I'm going to say go Navy, beat Army, same second. I'm always a Navy guy. Through both my grandfathers are in the Navy in World War II, so Navy guy. But my second round pitch, congratulations to Alev Kelty. She scored her 100th try yesterday. I believe, it might have been Friday. I can't remember if it was Friday or yesterday, as I was too busy laughing around while he was running in his Old Boys match. But the women, she got her 100th try of the Sevens career. The women are taking on New Zealand for the final today at 10:56. It's probably starting around now, our time. It's 11:56 Eastern. So probably starting in a couple minutes. Let's go Eagles. Let's win the Toulouse final there. Get some points, and that could really jump us in the standings and maybe move us out of third for a second place finish overall. But congratulations on the individual effort to Alev Kelty, who has been one of our best sevens players since she joined the sport, to be quite honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So my around the pitch, I want to congratulate Chris Mattina. I think the other one's Patty Ryan. Is a 50th cap. They just missed out on that 50 for 50. I think last weekend we had our 2 finalists.
I think Patty's 51 and Chris might be
52. We had our final 50 for 50. Was it Mahoney?
Yes.
Was one of them, and
I'm blanking on the thing.
And
Between the travel, the lack of production assistant, and the amount of beer we drink yesterday, we're a little sluggy.
But congratulations to all those guys for 50 caps, obviously making a commitment to this growing league, and hopefully we'll continue to grow this in the next couple of years, matriculate on.
Absolutely. So around the pitch, done and dusted. Now we're going to our topic. So the topic we have chosen.
I got to get my notes for this.
Yeah, go get those notes.
I took the day in the head yesterday, and so I'm a little woozy and still trying to remember what day it is.
Go get your notes. So what I'm going to preface this with is we're going, if the playoffs started after the matches last week. So we're not taking the matches that have happened on Friday and Saturday into account when we're talking about this. The reason being is because there's still 4 more teams yet to play. So we're going, if the playoffs started now, who do we think would win the quarters, win the semis, and play in the championship, which is being held here at SeatGeek Stadium. Go get your tickets now. If you guys did see the announcement, there are 2 amazing musical guests coming to the championship here. I'm trying to talk my wife into letting me come that weekend. It's rough. She's been telling me I've been traveling too much. This coming to Chicago once, she was kind of like, I don't know if you guys might get arrested or something. So I don't know if she'll allow me back. I really want to come because you have the Dropkick Murphys playing, and you have DJ Shaquille O'Neal. I swear to God, Shaquille O'Neal has been a DJ for the past 10 years now, and he's actually been residencies and things like that in Las Vegas and go down internationally, applying his trade as a DJ. He will be here to kick off the party. I know he's a Hounds fan. I've seen him in the kit before. It's amazing that they make kits that big for him because when the big guy asks for like a 7X, Paladin can't deliver. I'm looking at you, Paladin. But all jokes aside, it's going to be a great party here for the championship. So I'm going to kick it off and let Rob do the Western Conference first. How do you think the Western Conference is going to shake out?
Oh, well, I think the County with San Diego #1. They're on a roll. I think they have 1 loss thus far, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they have their last 6 matches. 5 matches. See, they beat Nola yesterday, which Nola's been up and down and real inconsistent, but they're really putting their stamp on things. I think you got to feel that they're a favorite going into into the finals.
And they would have that bye week. Now, I always preface when I'm doing my picks, like as a fan, for me, and you can fact check this, it's probably wrong, but my perception is I feel like those teams that get the bye week play a little sluggish in those semifinals. So I always want my team to come in second or third, so that way there's a continuity of their play. So you got San Diego getting that bye week. So who do you have in your quarterfinals for the Western Conference?
Oh, I think at this point I'd have to say Seattle and Houston. I think they're playing consistently. They both have, I think, one piece necessary to win the title or to be at least in the hunt, and that's defense. Right, both of them are strong defensive teams. Both of them have big bats. Seattle, at least yesterday, we didn't see we're super hampered by the missing of Rugby Rant. But we saw in the game yesterday, Houston put up some numbers early on and was really able to put the stamp on the early match. But then Seattle came rolling back and did really.
That's a really open play. I mean, I know we're not using yesterday's matches as an example. We're kind of using the standings, but Foodie coming in with that hat trick.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny. Mattina and O'Keefe were talking about. Mattina was talking about all these try-assists he had, and while Foodie scored the points, it was other players. Mark Cepho was setting him up on 2 of them, and then Frappy set him up on the first one, and he was just happened to be the guy that got it down there. But to have that play is what they would be looking for, especially if they're playing Houston and they want to beat him right. Now, if it broke down the way you have it, you would have Seattle playing the home game against Houston. Always a tough place to play at Starfire. So
you got the 16th man. I mean, that crowd gets into it. There probably isn't, and no disrespect to any crowd, but that is one stadium, just with the way the stadium's set up and the number of fans they get up to pack it out. They really, they make a difference. Their fans make a difference.
And the thing is, it's very reminiscent where the Seahawks play, where it's tight. So the amount of noise you get and it's compacted into those stands really echo onto the field. And I know the New York players have always talked about the fact that they can really.
And physically, that overhang too, I think, keeps a little bit sound.
It doesn't come up; it goes forward.
Right.
So honestly, I would. So if you Houston, Seattle, and Seattle for a quarterfinal, you have Seattle.
I have Seattle, and I think they have 2 things that are critical. Every team, when it comes down to it, they need a fly half that can create the continuity between the forwards and the backs and seize and as they got 2 of them, right? Gordon Jake, obviously, and AJ Alatimo. I mean, Alatimo showed out last season. He's showing up this season. He's done a tremendous job, and Jordan Jake, of course, rolls just as strong. So they have that 1-2 punch, right? They can run with one of them, come in, do 50, 60, minutes, and then they have the other one come in and finish out a match. And they showed yesterday
Kind of work.
how that worked
In Houston too, which was surprising. Houston did not get their big Bears players did not really stifle that attack, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
Seattle seemed to open it up. Okay, so now we're going to a semifinal. We would have Seattle and against San Diego and Snapdragon. What do we got there? San Diego, again, coming off of bye week, are they going to be sluggish? What's going to happen? They're obviously going to have the crowd behind them. I would assume, we're looking at the paper here just so we know what teams, because we had them by the standings. I would assume they're going to break their own record from they had from opening day as far as number of fans has seen.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think they'll get 10 to 11,000 for sure, and they can push 12. And those fans, we know the cohort. Shout out to you guys. They do a tremendous job of leading the charge. They lead from the front, and they do make the difference. Because the openness of that stadium, unfortunately, some of that ambiance escapes the stadium a little bit. It doesn't have that quaint feel like it does in Starfire. But you can definitely hear those fans, and I think the team gets a charge from that. I know Nate Foster, who's having a tremendous season. He's an X factor. They play on the way, gets in the mix for the USA, both at scrum half and in the wing. But I mean, I think he leads the league and tries this year, and he really has done a nice job. If he's not scoring a try himself, he's setting a try up.
Yes. He's honestly, if I had to pick an MVP right now, it'd probably be him. I mean, to be quite honest.
I've now called him the original Nate the Great. Ted Lasso as a Nate the Great. I think we've got right here in the United States a better Nate the Great. I love you, Nate Osberger, for what you do and what you give into this community.
So I mean, I would say it would be a tighter match. I think in the quarterfinal, Seattle pulls away at the end against Houston. I think this would be a tighter match. I think San Diego wins, but I would say maybe by a converted try, maybe even less. I think it would be tighter. I think Seattle can thrive under the pressure. I think Seattle can play their game, which is just as open and expansive. And Seattle can make their tries and score their tries. San Diego's going to have the match. And I think both teams, like Brunson, it's like they're running on offense in the NFL. You're going to see, Texas college football, Texas Tech versus TCU. You're going to see a big scoreline.
More than 50.
Yeah, more than 50. And I think definitely think San Diego sweeps by with, I would say, a converted try or an unconverted try.
Yeah, I agree. I'm saying it's going to be 3. It's my over-under line. I'm sure on that match.
So we're going to move over to the East real quick because now we have our Western Western finals going to the MR Championship here at Snapdragon. So it would be OGDC taking on Rooney at Sedgwick Field, right? New England has far and away broken the logjam there. It's been on top of the table. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. Shout out to Bill Harris and Dave McGee and all those guys, the first rank regiment and all that, and both all those guys love you. But they're top of the table right now. It's been tough going for the rest of the table. So Rudy would go into OGDC playing a really tough team. They played New York played DC in New York and kind of beat them up. I think there just wasn't a synergy there. There were a couple guys who were out. They're talking about coming off of OG. They're coming off a bye week. I always like to practice that. If they're coming off a bye week for some reason, don't start fast. New York started fast against them and they're going to keep up. But now, 2 p.m. I believe they're kicking off at 3 p.m. Eastern. They got Nico Jones sitting there at flanker. They got the young New Zealand coming off of his stint in Super Rugby with the Moana Pacifica. That's really going to light up the league. I'm telling you, he might be the best player in this league, talent-wise. I'm not going to lie. Coming into the league through the season, so now he's going to have a couple more games under his belt. He's going to come into a home field. Sanford's going to be rocking. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I still says Rudy wins by 3. Here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. Rudy plays a more expansive game, and they seem to if they can just keep the handling errors down, you see what they can do.
Yeah. Well, and see, I'm going to go with Rudy having the ball. I'm going to go.
You think it's going to?
Yeah. Here's why. What I like to do is I like to go kind of project what the last 5 to 6 games are going to look like, and I have Rudy in their last. I think I had 6 games. 1, 2, 3, 5 games. We're going to have teams with 23 wins between them, as opposed to OGDC, which have in their last 6 games was going to have teams with 39 wins, right? And so again, I think having that closing third of their schedule, that's going to be a little tougher ask. Rooney had a real nice game against Goal last weekend. If they could just get healthy, I think that's the
They
critical.
still
piece
have
to
Brendan
finish.
O'Connor still out.
Right.
Benjamin Nossel just came back, but really had issues. Tavita Lange, unfortunately, came back from an HIA and seemed to suffer more effects from it, had to come out. Nick Mayhew is still dealing with back injury. So you have a forward pack that's decimated. But you know what you do have? Renate Akui coming in and lighting up the league, Robin.
Yeah.
He's been doing great.
Yeah, 100%. So all that being said, I think that we have that, the ironworkers, I gotta correct myself, the ironworkers have that ability to just open things up, especially if they get ahead on the board. They're really tough to come back against. The one thing I think they have to work on is their penalty count.
Yes, absolutely.
It's crazy. I think I've counted, and I'll talk more about it on my sideline commentary in today's match, but when I did the count, I think of all the games they've had, they've been behind in the penalty count on all but one game. They've lost the penalty count. One game they tied the penalty count. Only one game they got ahead of the penalty count. And that can be troubling when you're talking about playing teams with a good tactical picking game.
New England. So let's talk about New England because the first match Rudy played against New England, the Ironworkers played against New England. Rich Sleeves are going to slap me one of these days for continuing to say Rooney, but it is what it is.
Old habits die hard.
But if you look at the second half of that, it's not that New England had this like crazy expansive game. New England took advantage of the penalties. Kicked a couple in the corner, went up a couple tries, and then they did like almost death by 1,000 cuts. New York would commit a penalty with a kickable range, kind of in between the sticks. They would kick it and convert it. Petrovs is just he's killing points leader, getting the league points for a reason. But I think he slotted like 7 out of 7 penalty conversions. Just that match alone. So if we're saying Rudy wins is going up to New York, is it going to be the same thing if New York is ill-disciplined? I would say not. Rooney by 3. I can never pick New England. I'm sorry. Rudy could lose this game, maybe nothing. If they could be the last in the league, I would still always pick Rudy winning. Because I think they can go up there and can play that game. And I think New England hasn't really shown a crack yet either. So when are they going to show that crack? If they show it, and maybe it's in that semifinal.
Well, and I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to go with New England by 2, and I think the X factor is going to be Golden Walker coming back in. Right, I think he's back in country now. I have to look. I haven't had a chance to look at the lineup today to see if he's in there.
I'm not sure.
But we can expect him to be back in lineup and to start getting into the mix within that last stretch of 4 or 5 games. And I think he's our X factor, obviously, as he went, the rest of New England went last season. And I think they have an axe to grind, if you will, and a chip on their shoulder and something to prove this season that they can be on top and stay on top all the way through the end.
Absolutely, I think you're right. I think that the other thing about Bowden is in being interviewed, he came in to Logan and the first resident was there to meet him. He got interviewed by our buddy Phil Harrison. He said he's in the best shape of his life, coming from that physical pro setup over in Japan. So he feels, 1, he's rested, 2, he's in the best shape of his life. He's coming in halfway through the season, and he doesn't have that war of attrition that all the other players, we were talking to, because you wrote today, we're talking about, he's really starting to feel it right now, and he's having, he's out of the Hounds roster right now for some medical issues, and he's having a tough go of it, and that's where a lot of the MLR players are, right? They're either on the injured list or they're walking wounded. Fortunately for Bowden, he doesn't have that, and that's what I think will be an X factor if New England decides they want to win. I'm not saying they're going to win, by 3. So obviously my championship is San Diego. Rooney beat San Diego by 150 points, yada, yada, yada. If wishes me it's so. But whoever's playing here at SeatGeek, I think it's going to be an exciting match because I've already heard a lot of people who, not to be rude, their teams are in the bottom half, saying, I still want to make a rugby weekend. It still seems like it's going to be a party. And you're going to see the 2 best teams from each conference who fought it out in those quarters and semis to get there and continue that role of playing great rugby. I got to be honest, if you have been looking at the scorelines, I wouldn't say have exploded, but Dallas, while not winning, is putting points on team. They're averaging, I think, 22, 23, 24 points a match versus last year where they're getting blown out 50-0. Don't get me wrong, every so often teams are going to have a blowout, but I think that's a testament to what they put on the field, how much they're getting better. And every team, and even though they're not getting the win, there's a lot of those wins, a lot of those losses for Dallas and Chicago that if they turn the tide 2 or 3 points, all of a sudden they're in the mix.
Right.
And it's not as crazy them being in the bottom as it can seem.
Right. I'd have to agree. I mean, the Hounds are one of those teams, though, the Gold are one of those teams, in spite of the fact.
Toronto has had
Right.
continually 14.
And they tied ATL, and there was a 36, 36.
I think 34, 34. And when they played New York, in New York, Toronto had 14 guys on the injured reserve list, and then had 2 guys go out for an HIA on the same play because they ran into each other. And I believe whoever was playing 10 hadn't played 10 professionally in the MLR. You know, and not to say anything about his effort or his skill level, but if you haven't played it, you know, if you're just throwing, you just have to throw a guy in there. That's fucking hard to do. Away, nonetheless. You know.
Right. So, and I agree, and we're seeing teams like the Ironworkers, like NOLA, like Toronto, the Hounds to some degree are experiencing too, where it's a physical game, and a lot of what we're going to see down the last stretch is going to come down to managing injuries and managing a lineup well. It's going to be quite a challenge for coaches. So conceivably, I think we're both in agreement. We're likely to see now. Obviously, these are just our predictions here.
Way too early to predict.
Yeah, way too early predictions.
But he has. So who do you have winning out of New England and San Diego?
I have New England. Winning.
You think they slow San Diego down?
Sorry, in the final.
In the final.
Oh, gotcha.
You have New England.
No.
New York fights New England in the final. San Diego, New England here on this picture.
I think San Diego. And I think San Diego because they are super deep. They can control and manage those injuries probably better than any other team. And I still don't think they forgot about those 2 seasons in which they came oh so close in the final. Again, I think they're a dangerous team with a chip on the shoulder. And, knows he's going to come back from being, on his band. And he said that's something to prove too, that he's here for a reason. They brought him here for a reason. He came back for a reason. You've got some great support players, in the back line, in the forward pack. You have,
it's a ton of firepower.
Yeah,
And it shows with a 10-1 record, you know?
Right, exactly.
But guys, real quick, before we're going to sign off real quick, but what I want to talk about is something, mental fitness is something it's this month, it's mental awareness month for MLRs, wearing those mental fitness shirts. Robert's going to talk about it a little bit on his broadcast, but I want to talk about it on my side. I wear this hat often. It's my buddy Carmine's engine 64, Castle Hill Night. Shout out to those boys in the Bronx. He was a firefighter for the FDNY. Unfortunately, he passed away in an accident about 2 years ago. At the time, he left a 7-month pregnant wife and a 4-year-old girl. And really close friend of mine. We have a big group of really close friends. And mental health was a struggle for all of us when he passed away. It still is 2 years later. The reason I bring it up is because he was always the guy in my group to ask me, how's the show going? He couldn't tell you a fucking prop from away. He probably never watched a rugby match in his life. But he was the type of guy to be like, you have something going on. How's it going? How can I support it? One of the few people who ever bought a Rugby Rant shirt. Always would be like, I listened to the podcast, when I fell asleep and you got those listening minutes. But it was always like, this was a passion. You found 2 guys who are passionate with you. Just stick to it. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about bullshit. Don't worry about haters. Just continue to do it. And we're here right now, 3 years later, finally meeting each other face to face, doing the live show face to face. The saddest part for me is Ty couldn't be here with us. Yeah. That's really we're incomplete without Ty to our 3 musketeers here. But I just want to say, mental health is very important. If you're feeling fucked up, say something. Come to me and Rob. We'll talk to you. Just talk to somebody. Find somebody you can talk to. Don't do anything drastic. The National Suicide Hotline is 988. We're trying here to tackle the stigma here on the Rugby Rant, through the MLR, through the Hounds, through New York. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I'd urge anybody out there who keep an eye on their mates. You see a mate might be struggling, might be having some difficulties, reach out and simply ask the question, are you okay? Sometimes that little piece for somebody to just make that crack open and say, I'm having a rough go of it. It's the opportunity that we have as close friends to have a conversation and hopefully get them the help that they need to stay back on track and to keep moving. And sometimes it's all about getting the resources, finding something that keeps them going every day and keeps them alive. And it can make all the difference in the world to know.
Right on, Robin. And again, if you need somebody to talk to, me, Rob, and Tyler here, let's just on the Rugby Rant, hit us up on our personal shit. We'll talk to people, and I've been there, I've been low, I've been high, I know how it feels. I'm sure Rob deals with young kids all the time at his high school, and this is part of him being a teacher, an educator, an administrator, is helping those kids through tough times. So he has a lot of experience in it too. But guys, let's round out the Rugby Rant. Rob, thank you so much, bro. I mean, this is unbelievable
Thanks for
weekend.
making the trip.
Dude, it was. I couldn't pass it up. When we saw it on the schedule, me and my wife looked at that one and we're like, we know what we have to do. Thank you very much to your lovely family for keeping me and housing me and feeding me and lugging me around and helping me with the bags at the airport. I'll always do the same for you guys.
100%.
And this is a unique opportunity to do this live, and hopefully we'll get to do this a couple more times throughout our thing. But guys, check us out. We're not doing anything on Thursday this week because we had this live show. But check us out next Monday. We're going to drop an RPK. We have Chris Mattina in the loop.
Yep.
And we have the guys from the New York City Sevens.
Cornelius.
Yeah, Rob Cornelius.
Shout out to Rob.
Shout out to Rob for New York City Sevens in the loop, and obviously.
And then we'll have Nick Collin coming on, assistant GM for the Utah Warriors. He's going to talk about the Collegiate Rugby Shield that's coming up in July, kind of preceding the draft.
We also have Hugh Roach on deck once he's feeling better to come on. We're also going to have Owen Scannell, the CEO of PR7s, coming on for his annual State of the PR7s. The big guy will be going to PR7s in DC. The big guy will be going to New York Sevens, then in Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Rob might be coming to New York City Sevens, and maybe we'll do a couple more live shows. We're trying to figure that out. But anyway, guys, this one's done and dusted. I'm the big guy, Scott Farrar. That's Rob the Hammer Hammerschmidt. We'll see you guys the next time. We miss you, buddy.